Well, I'd like to put a few things into context. Maybe I'll turn down the volume a little bit. Go through some of what's going on here. I might put myself into a chat, into a party. That way people don't hear me chatting. Um, so all in, this is where I was originally forced to bunker down for the first night. Um, Things got a little wild on the other island. Oops. Yeah, no, we did that right. So the island to the left of me, I'm pretty sure is where I originally spawned. I can't remember. It was either that or it was like super heal. It was like I'll show you. There's America. America is just down the road from me. Um, Landmarks. uh, so so I think I may have spawned around America, and it was pretty brutal. It was pretty brutal for the first like I was just dying left, right, and center. There was stuff everywhere that was just eating my face. Having a horrible time, and I knew that the peninsula, which is what I'm on the heel of, so that is this. Think of Florida. So that piece of land that I'm looking directly upon now, that's the quarry and also the mine. It's kind of a little bit of both. Mostly a quarry though, with a little bit of like metals, ores. Um, so I knew it was relatively safe here because I have spent time on that tiny island at the very tip of the peninsula. And I know that's relative. There are raptors in and amongst larger um, those larger islands above the small islands there. But relatively speaking, this area is pretty safe. There are crocodiles in here. If you're going to like a blank slate, um, or something of the sort, like there's a lot of built up area in here, so things don't generally spawn. Um, they'll spawn around pegs, but not so much around the buildings. So kind of safe. You'll get the odd spitter here and there, and you'll get the odd bird, and things are pain in the butt for a little bit, but more often than not, it's pretty chill here now. And then you got people with big dinosaurs roaming the beaches, just eating everything. So typically, if I find riffraff while I'm on like a meat run, and I'll show some of that as well. I usually do the meat runs during the day because this is where I get the prime meats from, and the prime meats come back, and that's why I have so many. That's why I have so many smokers because it takes forever to smoke a prime meat. So like I had two of them originally, and I was like, oh my god, this is not cutting it. This is after I got the Tyrannosaurus. I hadn't taken the Spino out for a meat run because it's relative. Like I mean, it's still a very nice level to be dealing with. Um, I got this as a gift because I think my next door neighbor caught me nicking his eggs. Cause like, cause like I still haven't gotten a garden up. Like I still don't have the blueprints for a garden yet. I do like I've been relying. Don't mind this. But I've been surfing the drops for farm equipment, and that's kind of where I've been getting most of my stuff from, and hopefully I can get enough together. I'd like to run a water pipe into the building, and I'll show you like where the cooker is. That way, if I'm in the house or I'm cooking or whatever, I need water. It'll be right there sticking out of the wall. So like I invested in ladders, but not for this particular reason. I do like the parkour thing. I live in PV, like I came from PvP, so things were very tight to begin with. You want to make us like y- to some degree, the best defense is not being found. So if you can make yourself small, right, that's kind of best. Save on points. So like that's where this whole lifestyle came from. I've never had a base this big though. At least not unofficial. On an unofficial, like you smack a stone and you get, 5 to 1,000 stone, and it's like, ooh, that's half a base. And P.S. This whole base was put together prior to like most of this base was put together prior to having these fancy birds. Um, Save for this breeding portion here that I put in. Now I put in a box for breeding because I have to throw the egg on the ground to cook it. And if I put the egg on the ground and I have somebody access this area, which they totally can, then they can just pick up the egg and run away with it. So some privacy is needed for breeding. And that's why people live in boxes. You'll also take note that my generator is in a box, and you're probably asking why. Well, that's because Bob's can run down the beach here and turn my stuff on and off. So if you have not so much a worry with gasoline because I can get oil. I got oil everywhere here. And now that I've got the Tyrannosaurus Rex, hide is not an issue either. So gasoline, it's more so like a tech generator. Say you're building something with a tech generator and you have your tech generator just sitting out on your property. Well, in PvE, can come and turn your stuff off while you're cooking something. So all of those materials that you just collected and put into the tech replicator and now are gone because you're now creating that recipe, but you don't have the item yet, I can switch your stuff on and off on you. So I can cancel that creation and then you lose all of your materials. So something to be very wary. That's why people live in giant boxes, because people, I'm going to say it, people that can't play PvP come to PvE with a sour attitude, in that like really, really, that's what it is. Because you're never going to see that in PvP. Come touch my stuff in PvP. Watch what happens to you, right? The only reason that you come and touch my stuff is because there's no consequence. And I don't understand, like, and there are other things that you can do to kind of, wreck somebody's day. You can spread fever around, right? I can go to the swamp and get fever, and then go cough on every bob on the beach, and just spread that around the whole server, right? There are other trolly things that you can do too, but at the same time, like, keep that in PvP. Like, if you want to go cause ruckus, go to PvP. So, um, yeah, just a little heated on that. But um, that's why. So when I get a replicator, I have the foundry. I've invested in a foundry, so I can make the foundry anywhere. I'm gonna put a foundry in here. I don't know where I'm gonna put the foundry. Probably on the top somewhere. But I'm going to make a vault room first. So there's gonna be a vault room, and there's probably going to be, and it's not like my haywire, but there's gonna be a vault room, and then there's probably gonna be like a half room of pods, depending, right? Because I popped out triplets the other day, and I was not prepared for triplets, so I had to like empty out half my pods, and that's why I have birds sitting on the ground here, is because I ran out of pods. But I didn't have the metal. I didn't have like none of this was in operation yet. Like I still didn't have the proper walls up, and I still didn't have that. Like I didn't want to jump steps and sacrifice the things that I had worked for previously to try and get ahead faster, right? So it's kind of like where can I make these jumps and that wasn't really one of them. So it was like I was living very basic. I was running out and smacking things for meat and hide. I wasn't taking the Tyrannosaurus or the steak or the Spino out for meats and stuff. Like, still just trying to get, like, this is official. Like, this isn't unofficial where I can basically sneeze on something and it's dead. Right? I could walk up to a Brontosaurus and basically punch it to death in an unofficial server. Like, there's no skill in that. So I want to find the boundaries, but at the same time, I don't want to cross them because I don't want to lose any of this stuff. Because all of this stuff that you see here creates the currency that I need so that I can go out and buy something fancy and then go do a raid. So none of this really sees quote unquote battle. I know the Tyrannosaurus Rex goes out and sees battle, but like, I'm not specifically looking for another Tyrannosaurus Rex to go and mess with. Or I don't, you know, I could potentially bring out a. I could potentially. It depends on what level the Spino is, right? But I'd have to bring out a telescope. So majority of these things are just things that I have found from the gachas or from alpha fights. Um, I haven't done too many alpha fights because I was restricted to using the cliffs and a weapon. And most of the weapons that I have, I don't have ammunition for yet. I can create ammunition for anything. I've opted to create. I'm an ammo specialist, I suppose, but I'm also a gatherer at the same time. Like, I can go anywhere. I can go to the very bottom of the ocean without scuba gear right now. I can potentially head off into, like, I can make pelts now, right? I can make pelt stuff, so I can go into the deep cold now without. I have otters too. I found otters. So if you're playing on strictly the island, you're not going to find some of this stuff that I'm using. Specifically the gachas. The gachas you're going to have the map Extinction for. And you can go back and watch some of the videos that I've created on taming the gachas. Um, I recently tamed a few gachas with stone. It wasn't bad, but at the same time, it's like feeding a pteranodon with regular meat. You sit there and watch the ticker go up for like, I don't know, glass walls. It's instant. Like, I put 40 glass walls down, and then with these birds, now I can get rid of the lockers all over, all over the extinction map. Because before I was using PTs. So PTs are the pteranodons. Um, these guys here. We'll just call them PTs. These guys here, the PTs. The PTs, um, they would carry the things for me, but they only have like maximum 290, maybe 300 carrying. So it's not. These things have thousands upon thousands, right? So I can show up to a level or to a maximum level gacha with two of these things and just walk up and insta-tame it with some glass. I don't have to worry about bringing, like 6,000 stone with me, because that's ridiculous. It's not even going to hold 6,000 stone. I plop I I plop 100 glass into you in your mind, and I'll walk away with you in 2 seconds. Because they can get into riffraff too, and when they get into riffraff, they don't. They get like they go Hulk. They go Hulk. They just get mad and they don't get, like, you have to throw food at them from the sky and hopes that they like eat it and calm down. But they just go into a rage mode and they don't stop until they're basically dead. Either that or they'll run away. Um, Depending on the situation. So I there was a feller. He's like way. He's like he's living in like the 30 and 40 area, so he's up in the cold. But he's from a different map, so he had a whole bunch of goodies. but he was from a map that didn't allow birds. I think he was from Genesis. Um, so I basically just like, I know I'm not the greatest, but but like I tossed him a bird and whatever else, like it, like a, I think a fridge and a generator, but the generator was wind powered, right? Because I've been to Extinction, so I can now set up some wind turbines rather than using gasoline, and then potentially use the gasoline for the new bird. So the new bird, if you put the saddle on it, which I'm pretty sure I can make, you can throw gasoline in it. Now I've been setting up to nick dragon eggs. I need to kind of like, and that's why the breeding pad is up now too. Excuse me, good saw. Um, quick note: these gotchas do not like being this close together. If you put them this close together and you don't put them on wander, they're not gonna eat. They're not gonna do anything. They're just gonna be mad at each other. Um, one female, one male together, and then like 10 foundations apart, and then you can start that process over again. So this here, you're never. It's like you're not gonna see this in the wild. This doesn't happen. They're few and far between, and very rarely will you see two like this close together. So if I put these, that's why in the pen way down at the back there, they're on either side of the base. I tried to put, and then those pillars, right? Because if these guys wander up to that door at the very back there, then the obsidian's not gonna pump for me. So I have to keep them away from the obsidian because the obsidian won't like being that close and not being so. This kind of forces them into an AI mode where they just do what they need to do, and they do what they've been programmed. They haven't been programmed to hate each other when they're like this. So this kind of works for me. I'm really hoping that the land over here opens up. I'm pretty sure Mystic and Mystical. I'm pretty sure Mystical and America um, are tribe mates. Cause America's got a door here that he started, but like this has been like this for, so I've been playing now for about 2 weeks. 2 weeks. So I spent about a week in Extinction, and I've spent about a week or so here. Um, this has been like this for 2 weeks now. So I'm really hoping this base, like not that I wish bad things onto people, but like, oh, it did decay. Oh my gosh, half of it's gone. Oh, poor guys. So, um, I've got pegged over here. I'm pegged on this side, or at least I was pegged on this side. Yeah, I'm still pegged on this side. So I'm really hoping I can open up this whole lane and then dump some more gotchas in here. That way I have in here too. I have in the bay. Not that I'll necessarily need it, and not that I'll necessarily take the bay. Um, Especially for bobs, right? I've I've probably given you a little bit too much excitement. The ambient noise doesn't go off. I've probably given you a little bit too much excitement trying to swim around these doors. No, you should be okay. Yeah, you should be okay. So like I'm trying to keep through ways. There are piranha in here, but typically speaking, they're more so down the road. So still a throughway. Um, there's not a throughway through here. I did have a ladder up, but I kept getting bobs in here, and then they could, for some reason, you can't see the big pink sign telling you that there's out. So they're like half a bag of crystals, and they don't know how to get out. um, you cannot transport so if you're jumping servers, you cannot jump servers with the crystals. You have to turn them into their basic materials, and then you can travel with them. Or so I mean like, and this runs like this. I don't do anything. I don't put these away at night either. Um, so you people can come here and feed these things. I left this open for Bob's because they seem to have trouble. So, um, yeah, yeah, this all opened up. There was a guy about right where this tree is here. I'm assuming he was just looking for a free ride because he never came back on. So once he made the house, it was just kind of over. Then he never really showed up. So, and then somebody made thatch, but it all disappeared in like a day. Uh, so yeah, I was pretty aggressive in the taking control. So, I did have my eye on some land north of here, but like, oh my gosh, this stuff just like, I guarantee if you have your eye on a piece of land that's opening up, there's like three or four other people who probably have the same idea as you. Um, so like, yeah, it's pretty disappointing. So once that happened, I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna bunker down here. And it's worked out, right? I have a water pen. Um, I have everything. So right now, I've been spoiled. I have a bunch of things to make arrows so that I can feed the gachas. Um, when I was building all of this, typically speaking, I was building it by hand, so I was either using the axe or the pickaxe, and I was gathering a lot of flint. And I was also picking berries, right? Because I'm trying to like, I didn't need the dodos at first because I wasn't doing anything high profile, but now leaving some eggs around, I just, right, like if I don't have any meats on me, there's always 5 eggs laying on the ground. So chickens for my belly, right? Um, just a little bit of convenience. Um, yeah, this is kind of it though. The breeding pad fits one gacha. That's basically how big this is, or whatever else I need. Right? I can fit a few pteranodons in here. I can get uh, I can get some things going in a couple corners. Why, hello. I got glass here just in case, right? Because I'm kind of open door. I'm kind of open door, right? Like, I know there's scavengers, and I know there's less fruitful people than. I'm not gonna say that scavengers are fruitless people, but there are less fruitful people than beggars. Um, so, and having an open door policy and kind of having, people wander in and out, it's just nice to be able to have a piece of glass here and be like, okay, yeah, I can see what's going on. That way I don't have to open the doors. Um, yeah, saving up for a foundry. Saving up for a foundry. I don't want to put it on the ground anywhere because I want to save this space. It's already being utilized enough as it is. Um, yeah, I'll kind of go over the procedure real quick. Let me dump all these crystals. Do I have room? I might need to move some of this. Oop, I ate poo. Let's not do that again. Oh, did I feed this otter? I didn't feed. I don't think I fed this otter. I still have fish in my bag. Right, and I have a couple extra. Um, I have a couple extra. No, I have one extra obsidian. Sorry, I was thinking of the black pearls. Um, Not that I really need production in black pearl. I think one black pearl gacha is probably more than enough. Like, look at all that obsidian. I didn't have to do anything for that. That's just kicking around on the floor. That's why I say open those. Like, if you're gonna come here and nick crystals from me, you better open these somewhere else. Open them near a chest. Oh, I can't even. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna go like this. Then hopefully some of this stuff fits in here. No, I'm in trouble. That's okay. Everything's real close together. Oh, I'm in a lot of trouble. Let's get rid of these. Oh, there's another one. Wow. Okay. That's the other beauty about having kind of a nice tight base. It's super convenient. Oops. So again, not having to grab all those PTs and head off towards the mountains so that I can go get a load of metal, right? Because that's the safest. That's basically the safest place for me to gather metals is the. Hold on. So in the box of 50 and 60 and 40 and 50. So I'm always doing latitude first and then longitude. So we're gonna go down and then across. So there's a tiny little mountain right in there. I will either go there or down to 60 and 70 and 50 and 60. So that box in there pretty well it has crystal and it has metal and there's almost no riffraff there to eat your face. I can successfully land with 5 birds, 5 or 6. It's so painstaking with like 5 birds because it's just brr. Um, but like you can land there with 5 birds. You can fill everything up pretty solid and not have to worry about too much if you put the stuff in the right place. There's a peak on the very top of that, and you can pretty well land there. There's nothing up there. Nothing really gets you up there either. Well, unless there's something big, but I've never really come into anything too big there. There's eagles on that very small one that you have to worry about. But if you're running PT, generally speaking, they're faster than basically everything on this island. Um, yeah. So again, this is just with arrows. Like I know that there's better stuff to feed them, including the glass walls. Um, I do feed them stone railing, but that's because like look at that behemoth, another behemoth. Oh look, I got a matching set now. I have 2 matching behemoth doors. That's awesome. And I haven't had anything like now I'll use the chinch armor, but once it's broken, I'll throw it away. I'll give it to the gachas to eat. Either that or I'll just give it to the gachas to eat. Or if somebody's desperate enough to want some armor, I'll and if I've got some kicking around, I'll just give this away. Um, because remember, chinch or creatine, which you use to fix this armor, directly translates into currency. So you can change those things into cementing powder by adding stone, and then from cementing powder you add obsidian, which equals polymer, and then the polymer is the basic currency that runs on most servers. Some people will take other offers. As of right now, me kind of working myself up, there's not, I'm trying to save, like, I could go out and get organic polymer or something of the sorts, but like, it's a little bit of a trek for me. So I use hard, we'll call it hard polymer rather than organic polymer, or like inorganic polymer. So the inorganic polymer I use to create vaults, right? So there's 90 polymer that disappears for creating a vault. That way I don't have to run all the way to the other side of the map, freeze my butt off, go club penguins for 20 minutes, and bring all that organic polymer back. Now, if it gets to a point where some of these things are going to start becoming expensive, like 600 polymer, but at that point in time, I'm hoping to have created enough currency or enough friendship through, whatever I can get my hands on and whatever somebody else needs, give that to them, and maybe have like a nice little barter system going. So like a mana. Again, I go back to a mana. A mana is great for collecting corrupted nodes from Extinction because it's great at running away from things, but it's also great at attacking things. Not so, I mean, if you set it up kind of nice, it's okay for taking a few hits, but at the same time, it's not kind of meant for that. Um, and then I bring all that back, and then I make like a tech replicator with corrupted nodes rather than like 600 polymer or 700 polymer or whatever the case may be. Um, I did get a set of riot gear from a friend. It was a purple set. Um, so so I did not create one of these full sets. Um, I did have a sniper rifle that went missing. It got replaced, and it got replaced by the same person that gave me. Oh, what are you doing in here? Um, that gave me the gear. So that's good. So I'm kind of back. So I'm kind of back in that regard because like sniper rifle is kind of godly. I love my sniper rifle. Um, and like when you use the, so especially for these weapons, right? When you start using these weapons, I don't know if I've used this weapon yet. No, I haven't used them yet. Um, it's gonna cost. I think it's gonna cost polymer to fix these. Right. So I don't want to use currency to fix these either. So that's going back to having, like, I don't want to bring the Tyrannosaurus or something beefy into the corrupted area that can't quickly get away. And the reason for that is because the corrupted PTs are faster than your birds. So you need something big, like coupled, right? Like if you flew through with like, and even then you have corrupted dragons that you have to deal with, so you have to watch out for that, right? So you could end up going into like a pit of corrupted dragon, and these things are just like gross. They're like they're like half-ass versions of an alpha, but they're still pretty potent. Um, right? You have basically anything, pretty well almost anything. Like they have corrupted drakes. So like there's corrupted animals just invisible hiding in the bushes. They don't even need to hide in the bushes. They need to hide in plain sight. So if you're not paying attention, it's just dead. Um so so like a Tyrannosaurus not getting away from a Drake, right? But with the mana, I can kind of break that. I can break that and I can get away. Manas are super broken. Um. So yeah, gonna save all this for like raids. So again, like I don't need to invest. Like if you, the only weapon I think I've invested in is the long neck, and that's because I always want to have a gun for darts. Firearms. Yeah, I did. I did. Right, because I always want to be able to shoot darts. So even the really fancy or electric bio darts, pew 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 pew. Those shoot out of this thing. So this thing shoots three different types of ammunition, which I should, in theory, be able to get. Like once I get to that level, I'm probably going to invest in shock tranks. Like that's key. Um, And if the way this breath is kind of going, I may only invest in the flippers. I may not even invest in the chest for breathing. We'll see. It depends, right? I think Genesis is basically a swimming map. So I'll have to see, right? I need to also like a little bit of forward thinking. I want to make sure that I can cover my assets when I go to a different server. Like Ragnarok is pretty chill. All you need is a PT to get around, right? It's kind of like it's basically the jungle. It's basically the island, but there's dragons that'll eat your face. Um, Extinction's kind of like a broken island. Um, it has a lot of stuff in there that'll eat your face, but you can get around Extinction with a regular bird. I hear you cannot fly on Genesis. I hear that even a mana doesn't work on Genesis. Because the guy that I got this flame thing from, he came from Genesis and he was like, "Oh, I don't have a bird because we're not allowed to be there." And I was like, "So what you're saying is I need to take a mana?" And I was reading that apparently manas don't work in Genesis either. So it's either a rock drake or I think somebody said like a bloodstalker, but I have no idea what that is. It sounds like it'd eat your face. Oh look at you and all that poo. I could make a cementing powder farm. I could collect like 10 or so snails. I need sweet cakes. I don't have a garden. I could probably buy some sweet cakes. Um, but at the same time, there's not many snails around here. So what I would probably want to do is get a boat, probably a metal boat with metal walls, because I'm going to take that thing into the battlefield and go fight alphas with it too. Um, but like look for things of that nature, and then right, and then I can just pull up to the boat and I'll have like a. I think you can put a vault on a boat. I'm not sure. I'll have to check. But like just have a vault full of stuff, and then yeah, it's all tameable right there. I keep tossing this thing. These guys help with eggs. Right? See what I mean? These eggs. That's awesome. Now usually I'll run through here and pick up some rocks, throw them into the gacha, because they don't pick up the rocks from the ground, nor do they eat the bushes. So, but I do save bushes for the Triceratops because I have to actively feed the Tyrannosaurus in there. I want to take him out. I want to get the tickle monster, which is I have no idea what it is. Um, it's got really long claws, and it doesn't eat meat, but it will definitely mess you up. Um, think there's one down the street. We'll go have a look. How much stone do you have? Yeah, I see what I mean. Um, so almost need, and see, here's the thing. I think I have a snow owl egg. Hopefully it's a female because I do not have a female yet. So I'm hoping that it's a female. That way I can at least breed some owls and then start at I would almost want to leave 3 owls per gotcha. That way, you can see he's got that nice little. So that means I get extra goodies. So he'll eat an owl puke in conjunction with something else. Um, and so if I were to add like glass windows, which I can basically make, like my gotchas make glass windows for me. The only thing I need is cementing powder, which I'll go rob from the beavers. But like that's how I tamed these things. I basically tamed these things with themselves. Um, do you have nothing? Nothing. And you know what else I need to do? I keep forgetting. These things like get hungry super fast and die like, well, I mean they get hungry super fast, so if you starve to death, you're obviously gonna die. So, but that thing moderates my body heat. So I can go into the water without having a swimsuit on. I can walk into, like, if I've got a high enough level during the day, I can go into the snow. Um, just pretty versatile. I have one of these things on me. I should put it away. Cool. Yeah. So again, a pocket full of crystals. And I could be doing other things too, right? Like I can, like I'll run out for a meat run. We'll go do that now. Oh, and I think I put myself into that same situation again because I have so much stuff. I don't usually have this much thatch on me. I have to go out and find that. But I've also been like building. So I think once you get to a point of like I don't know, like a point of just existing, you're happy with your stuff. You're just not doing anything. You're gonna collect, and you're just gonna have an abundance of. How much stuff do I have on me? Oh, try not to leave your. So going back to having females and males, um, try not to leave your females on enable pregnancy. Because if you're not, especially the ones that just sit, like I can't help it with the ones that are on wander, they get pregnant by themselves. Um, but something like this, um, like once you collect that egg, turn that system off. That way, if you forget about it, somebody doesn't come in with a male, impregnate your bird, and then take the egg, right? Because there's no skin off my nose to, right, to plop a bird down for 10 minutes and just go, dick around in your base and collect it. Because half of these bases are so huge that they've got resources in them, right? So I can mess around in your base for a good, and I'll kind of show you what I mean. Like not with the male. I'll show you in the reverse. So, thinking to yourself, I've got this female. Doesn't matter what female. I've got this female. What happened here? Did you guys get into a fight? They must have gotten into a fight. I didn't know wire broke. That's okay. It's not that big of a deal. Oh, you probably have like a bajillion meats on you. No, you're not that bad. Yeah, give me all that. And this will work with the Triceratops. This will work. This will work with anything. And it doesn't even need to be on this server. And I'm pretty sure he's got a bull in here. Unless he's turned the bull off. Yeah, he's... See? So he's turned his bulls off. So his bulls won't mate with mine. And I can do that, right? And if it's not this, then I just go to the next, right? Sooner or later somebody's going to leave something open for me. And I'm going to get this thing pregnant and I'm going to have a baby. And I'm going to steal your sperm. He probably thinks that I stole that from him. That's what he probably thinks happened. And that's why he's turned everything off. That's okay. That's okay. Now remember, when you pod things and unpod things, you're going to have to change some of the behaviors back. So I don't want it to ignore. Oops. This is in here for muscle. I can feed these to the gotchas too. So I don't need to worry about dead meat anymore because I have so much of it. I want to see. Like, look, there's bases everywhere. Does this guy have a bird? Yes, he has birds. Now, not that I don't know what levels his things are. Oh, I see 63. See, I can even see your levels. Now, I don't know which one is a male though. Oh, you're not ready to mate for another 20 hours. I can turn on mating though, and I can steal sperm, or I can impregnate your dinosaur. That's okay. I have a 400, so I'm probably just gonna make these two together. Now I don't mind doing like small meat runs during the night. See, here's the issue that I have with doing things at night. Not that like scorched earth, like just be prepared to work at night. Um, especially until you get like that desert gear together and you kind of get yourself settled and you have like decent livable expenses. I did most of my work during the night in scorched earth. All right, look in the water. Look in the water for trilobites. I think they're called trilobites. Trilobites are good. This works really well for hunting turtles. Like this is basically another money maker. Oh, is this base decayed? I'll have to come check this out. I'm pretty sure that base just decayed. Not that I want to be nosy, but I'm gonna be nosy. And you can put I can put things on my saddle. I can put a torch on my saddle if I wanted to. Oh, these guys got a brontosaurus. Excuse me, good sir. Oh yeah, I'm okay with that. I'll rock this. Oh, that's not theirs? I'm totally gonna eat that in 2 seconds. I'm not gonna eat it now because I'll get prime meats from it. I'm gonna steal this. I'm gonna steal this. I'm gonna steal from this beaver real quick. So I'll roll up right beside it. I'll put my leg nice and close. Now there's piranha in here. Oy vey. Okay, let me get my bearings. Yeah, there's totally piranha in here. Is that a piranha? No. I better not die. There we go. Oh, can I eat that? Nope. Okay, so these guys give me prime meats. I think the tickle monsters give you prime meats too. And then turn around and turn those into jerky. Get off the wall. Turning slower moves you better. You have better turn control when you move slower. This thing drives like a boat. Oh my god. I bet you I can go up. So I'll keep the prime meats in the animal until I'm ready to take them out. Square allows me to access the inside of the dinosaur while still sitting on the dinosaur, so I don't have to get off to look inside of it. And then look at all these meats. And again, like I can get tons of hide. And if you go fight turtles, you'll come home with a pocket full of chinch. Preteen. Oh no. Why for? Am I too heavy? Oh, all that wood. Now, typically I don't scam from beavers on the island. But since I'm here, I will. If anything, I'll go to Extinction. Because there's like, in the sunken forest. And there's so many beavers. So many beaver dams. This is where I got all the cementing powder in the first place. Okay. So I don't mind spending one hide and one oil to make prime meat. Now again, Bobs can come in here and turn on my cooker or my fabricator. They can turn on and off your foundries, your metal foundries. So if you have wood or spark powder or anything like that. I mean, it's not a big inconvenience, but it's an inconvenience at the same time, right? Like think about it's more so when you like when you leave element in your tech replicator. So I'll break these up into one. Actually, you know what? I'll put them all in one. I don't mind that. There's only 4. I'll do about 7 to 10 per case. Um, Anything more than that, and I'll put half of it. I'll put half of it in the fridge, and I'll only do about 7 or so at a time. That way I don't get any spoiled prime meats in here. 'Cause like, right, 7 hours, you stuff like 30 or 40 prime meats in here and you're going to lose some. And it's not to say like prime meats are pretty easy to get a hold of, but at the same time, right? Save it. I have a fridge, right? And now that prime meat on top of the kibble, which I'm going to start creating soon. I keep saying that. Um, I can just I can tame PTs and steal away eggs with just like trash birds. I don't even care if I die, and I don't even care like 100 and what is it? 200. I think it's 200 hide and 120 chinch for a PT saddle. The PT is gonna cost me, well, depending on the levels. You're probably looking at like they do about 8%, 8.9% with one prime jerky. So you do the math on that. Um, and these are like average birds we're talking about. We're not talking about max. We're not talking about like 140s floating around. We're talking, 20s, 30s, and 40s. Just enough to get the egg out of the hole so that I can take it when I die. So now it's kind of next level. I think for the most part, I'm comfortable, right? I have a water pen. I have a pen for my gotchas. You have to watch out if your gotchas are in a really, really tight spot. Probably best to put them on a leash rather than in a box. And the reason I say that, like for wandering purposes, because sometimes I'll wake up and I'll have one of these buggers halfway down the yard into the next door neighbor's chewing on his plant. I'm like, what are you doing? So what'll happen is they'll when they sit down to eat, for some reason they'll also put themselves into a walk mode and they'll basically drag their ass like a dog cleans its butt on the carpet. It's same thing. It kind of just does that, but it'll scooch right through the wall. So if it's close enough to the door when it does that action, it's gone. Or sometimes it just gets stuck halfway in the door. So if you're going to put it on a contained spot, probably like I had trouble with this distance here. So these two doors here, from here to here, I've had trouble. I've had gotchas stuck in these doors or just wandering around on the outside. And the other one wandered down into this guy's yard over here. Um so yeah, just keep them on the leash. Um that way they have to stay in their designated area and that's it. But then you have to keep an eye on them because you have no protection for them. Da, 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 da. So I guess now it's like a breeding program. Now I want to move forward. So the next step in moving forward is to get better animals. So it is early in the real day. Um, and I would love to try. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'll give you a quick rundown of what I can actually create. Now, again, a tent probably just for like, especially in scorched earth, I think, right? So that's kind of where that came in. Um, but I got that in Extinction, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I got that in Extinction. I'm or in Ragnarok, one of the two. It's either Ragnarok or Extinction. I make all the consumables. I didn't invest in bug repellent, but my friend took me out on a bee raid, and um, this seems to be what he uses in conjunction with the ghillie suit. So I opted for that, just like because I can get climbing hooks too, right? Because a lot of these guys will just a they'll build a hutch right in front of the spawn point, and then they basically just have a house with a beehive in it. And then they go there and they just score up those beehives instead of having to climb up the wall and do crazy stuff or whatever. Um, so I scored some of that. I'm probably gonna get the lesser antidote, but I'd want. See, I haven't come into swamp fever yet, and typically you won't. Typically, I don't think you will on a PVE server. It more so happens on PvP. So 16, I'm not saying that that's a huge number, but at the same time, I'm now underneath 700 available points, right? I had kind of kept afloat of about 800, but some new things came up, and I was like, you know what? I probably want that. And like a bear trap, like a large bear trap, I'll like these are things that I can use to tame my own animals with. So if I can, right? So again, going back to being right, like, and here's why I say a large bear trap over, say, an actual trap, because and it depends on where you are. If you're an official and there's pillars absolutely everywhere, where are you going to set up a trap? Where are you gonna set up a like a built house trap? You're not. It's the same thing with the gotchas that I had issues with. I'm lucky to have found a spot in Extinction on the server that I'm on in the general area of the spawn point of the gotchas. There's a monopoly in that area. There's only, I'd say 4 or 5 big clans in that area, and then everything's just cubed off. So I think they were pretty surprised that I found myself tucked away on a cliff. Somebody must have pillared it with wood and forgot to put ladders on it, and that's how I ended up there. So, but again, having that same issue, right? Like, am I going to be able to successfully trap these in something else? And this is where probably making friends would help, right? You make friends with somebody who's pillared that land, and maybe you trade with them. You don't even ask them to use their things. That's not what it's about at this point in time. Right now, you're looking to make a friend. You're not looking to use them, right? Because essentially that's what's going to happen, right? You're going to give and take. That's what a relationship is about. But you want to initiate it. So say you see them wandering around and you got a couple of whatevers. So you just go over and say, "Hey, here you go. Just make yourself known." Says, "Hi, whatever. Hey, I got some eggs." And then maybe the next day you kiss ass a bit more, right? That's how a relationship starts. So, and then maybe it gets to a point where you become, you're creating something with somebody, and then you finally say, "Hey, maybe, I see that you've got a trap here, and I'd be really interested in collecting some milk for a way egg, right? Would I be able to utilize your trap while you're offline?" Because again, remember, you using somebody else's materials while they're offline makes those materials impenetrable, which means a, a stone trap can hold a dragon because it's offline protected. But you got the code to the door. So, forward thinking, right? So there are some things that you can potentially do, right? So again, going back to like simple like ammo, if I want to, I'm pretty sure you need to get a headshot in on a rock golem with a cannonball. So I can create cannonballs. Um, Grenades, shotgun, right? Now the walls were to tame the gotchas because I want to be able to tame them anywhere, and I want to just have that. I want to have that capability. So that's mine. That's mine to have, mine to hold. Um, Same with the stone railings. You don't see any stone railings anywhere. The only reason I have stone railings is so that I can feed my gotchas. Because again, I'm gonna have extra. I'm gonna have extra of everything. I'm gonna have extra stone. Well, see, here's the thing. With a gotcha farm, you may not have extra stone, but at the same time, I'm really hoping that I can afford myself some extra stone so that I can use 20 railings in conjunction with the with the owl pellets, because this is basically the cheapest form of getting gear. We're not talking about like the creme de creme. I'm not feeding my gotchas glass walls yet because we're not there. But at the same time, like what can I get away with very cheaply and still create enough traction for myself? And that's where the stone railings and the arrows and all this like cheap stuff comes in. Again, going back, like if I were to have 20 gotchas on the go, I'd probably just all feed them stone, right? And I would take the hit because you probably eat about 40 stone without a pellet to create one crystal. I'm thinking that's kind of where it's at. Whereas if you add a pellet, 20 stone will give you a crystal. And that's the same thing with the arrows. And now here's the thing. I'm thinking, yeah, no, I think it's about 40 arrows. I think it's two piles per thing. But you have, but it's for me, I think it's almost a higher frequency of good crystals, which gives me the shotguns and all that fancy stuff. Um, Obviously electricity. I want to be able to make currency, right? So the fabricator leads to the currency. That like if you're going to exist and you're going to buy things from people, have the ability to make a fabricator and to make polymer. That's your number one priority, right? Unless you can like with buying and trading and bartering. Like if you want to be a breeder and you want to barter your eggs instead of making polymer, that's totally your choice. But you're going to have to find somebody who's willing to barter eggs with you, so you've limited your buying power by using Bitcoin rather than, well, I shouldn't say like, but you know what I mean, like a specific currency. Like not many people use that currency. It's still valuable. It's still very valuable, but you've limited yourself to those specific people. Whereas if you were to use a federal currency, it's now, you know, US wide or Canadian wide, or in some cases it's with a US currency, it's worldwide. So that's where the polymer comes in. So polymer is kind of like that worldwide currency where everybody uses it. So getting into something like that. Again, lights are important. More ammunition. I want to be able to make elements. Refrigerators key. Now, I've invested in the grinder as as a test because on the island, you like, I mean, it's not to say that you're not going to get good stuff on the island, but at the same time, if I can break some of these, so for example, why would I want a grinder? Right? Like I can potentially feed this to the gachas, right? So I will get 25%. I'll get 25% of everything of what this is made out of. So what's flat, and like you have to remember that some of these are even better. So they cost more. They cost more. So if I use a primitive versus a really nice chess piece, this primitive one is only going to cost me, I don't know the exact numbers because I don't make them, but like let's pretend this one is going to cost me 20 polymer to fix. Well, this one over here is going to cost me, well, see, right? And I don't know if this is because I've only got like one hit in on it and it's only going to cost me 3 polymer to fix it, or is this actually only going to cost me 3 polymer to fix and this one, but you see what I mean? Like this one should only cost me like 1 polymer to fix if that's the case. So that's kind of where that works into. So having better items means that there's more materials inside of them. So more materials inside of them means that 25% from the grinder is going to be a bigger number. So that's my thought process on the grinder. So instead of potentially giving these guns or whatever, right? I get polymer in return rather than the obsidian that I, right? So I'll have to see what the numbers are like and what I'd actually stuff into the grinder to get things back. Because usually what I'll do is I'll just give all this stuff to the, not all of it, but like I'd give most of this stuff just back to the gachas. But I'd give them back to the gachas with a crystal. Because they only eat one shotgun at a time. So I'm hoping the shotgun plus the crystal or plus the pellet is going to give me something tasty. And this is specifically the quote unquote good stuff that I feed the gachas. Um, But yeah, interested in the grinder. That's what the grinder's for. Going back. Feeding trough was important, right? Because of the animals. I did want the dino leash. The dino leash is important because I've got a vision. I've got a vision. Um, and so basically that vision is, say you have a large property and you have doors, but you have such a large property that you have animals spawn on your property. Well, if I give you my gotcha, I can do a couple things for you, like rent out a gotcha type deal, right? So like if you don't have a gotcha, I can say, hey, you know what? I'm looking for like whatever the case may be. I'm looking for this amount of metal or this whatever. Why don't you bring me what I'm looking for, and I will rent you my gotcha. I will I will put it on your property for you to feed and for you to utilize, right? That's where that comes from. So I put it on wander, but I only give it a small space to wander in. That way while you're feeding it, it's also feeding itself. So you're kind of doubling down. It's the same thing that what I do out here, right? You often see me pick up things and I'll just throw it into a gotcha. Or if I have like extra spoiled meats, I'll go give it to the ones out there. Just because sometimes they don't have anything on them because it's pretty picked clean in there. um, that's why I want a bigger track too, right? If I could get a bigger track, I could probably toss another maybe one or two up. That would be okay. Um, I might invest in the ghillie suit. I haven't quite decided how that's going to work out for me and whether or not like. So here's the thing: you want to do some passive tames like Bigfoot. Bigfoot. You feed Bigfoot. So what you want to do with Bigfoot is Bigfoot will feed itself constantly. So what you need to do is you need to take all those berries and you need to collect them so that the Bigfoot doesn't eat anything. That way you feed the Bigfoot. So you're literally going to be like if you've waited around for like 15 to like 10 15 minutes for this freaking thing to get hungry and then all of a sudden a bush pops up right in front of it and you're like, "Oh no." You want to be able to get in and scoop up that bush and take all those berries. That way that thing so you're constantly in the face of the animal that you're working with. Now, there are some passive tames in the ocean. Now, I know it's kind of silly to think, but I'm thinking that this might work in the ocean as well. So, like, what I would do is I would take everything except for the boots and I put my flippers on. And that would kind of see me hopefully be able to tame some of those like the manta rays. The metal water reservoir is still. I still want the metal reservoir because the that leads to the breath for the scuba gear, which I may want in Genesis. So that's kind of where that leads to. So the only saddles that I've invested in are the snow owl saddle, the mana saddle, and the new bird saddle. And the reason for that is because these are the things that I'm constantly going to be using slash taming slash like these are going to be the industrial birds that are going to go into action. So the new bird with this guy here, I'm not even going to try and pro Propetheus, something or other. So if I put gasoline in this saddle, I'm basically a jet. Plus, this thing shoots, um, it shoots grenades. So like, bah, that's kind of awesome. But thinking of using this for an egg thief because again, the PTs, the PTs in official, I'm finding are slower than the dragons, the wyverns. Um, so I'm basically forcing myself into a death to get that egg. Whereas if I can scooch away with something maybe a little bit faster, I can break that aggro and kind of drag them through the forest, and hopefully they get caught on like sticks and stones and whatever. They don't though. They don't though. But what I'm hoping is like, I screw up that AI enough that you kind of get attached to a snail or something other than me. Um, so that's what that's about. The mana saddle, you're gonna find the manas in Extinction. Again, going back to why, probably one of the best things to kind of collect currency in my eyes. It's not currency, sorry, corrupted nodes, which translates into polymer. So again, going back to making expensive things. So when I use my guns, pew pew pew, like a really nice gun is gonna cost me like 300-400 polymer to fix. Like that's like I don't want to be spending currency. I'd rather go up north and club seals for an hour to fix my gun, or penguins for an hour to bring back organic polymer in the hopes that I can fix my gun with organic polymer, and I'm pretty sure that I can. So organic polymer, polymer, and corrupted nodes all do the same thing, right? Um, moving into materials. So my gotchas literally make everything except for like stone. I don't think they make stone. So I can make. So I've got short forms here, but like for instance, this one makes green crystals, and oil. Those are the most expensive. Like some of these things have wood or flint inside them, and I really don't care about those. I'm more interested in the things that I can really get my hands on, right? Coming and so green crystals are used for a whole bunch of different things. Um, this guy here, BS is, I think that's blue. I think that's blue crystals. I'm pretty sure that's blue crystals, green crystals, sulfur, and crystal. Black pearls, yeah, blue crystal, and congealed gas ball. What is this one? Earthy things. So this is wood, flint, um, probably fungus wood too. I can get wood and fungus wood in the same one. Um, so that's kind of what that one's about. This one is silica pearls, sap, and silk. There's probably a couple other junky things in there like flint and whatever, but those are the important ones, right? So now I don't have to swim to the bottom of the like black pearls. I got black pearls. I could feed this thing stone and pop out 20 black pearls in 10 seconds, 15 seconds. Boom. Look at that. You want 500 black pearls for your tech replicator? Boom. You got it in 45 minutes to a half hour. Especially if you got two or three of these black pearls going. Oh, buddy. Like think of the currency I'm gonna be making here. I'm really hoping for like I got a couple babies in here. I got one baby in here that's obsidian. So I need more obsidian. And then going back to those snails. So these gachas will pick up the cementing powder. So all I need to do is put the snails in with the gachas, but the gachas won't eat the cementing powder just like they don't eat the poo, right? But the cementing powder doesn't have a timer on it, so it's indefinite. It just sticks around forever. So you don't even need to be around for your gachas to be picking up half the currency for you. What else are we looking at? Oh, I don't have this one named. Red crystals. Red crystals. This is red crystals, oil, and silk. Unknown. Congealed gas ball is probably the only fancy thing in here. So some of these I'm betting you, what I've done is the ones that I haven't even named. don't have anything interesting in them. So this one probably just has all garbage in it. But why I've kept it is because it's a female. Right? That's again going back to succession and making babies. Like the only way you're gonna get a baby is, well, you need two people. But at the same time, like I can drag my bird over to the neighbor's house if they don't have their stuff on lock, I'm getting my female pregnant. So same thing applies here. Only the stuff, the production inside the gachas differentiates from the parents. So it's like, think of an apple. An apple seed, if an apple seed grows, you're not getting the same apple. You're getting a totally different tree, right? So if you want that same apple, you need a graft. So it's similar to, so the only way that you're gonna is with like twins or triplets. That's the only way you're going to see um like, well, and not necessarily either from the parent, but like that's the only time you're going to like see multiples of the same thing, of the same production, is when you get doubles or triplets. Um, but yeah, you could have like my obsidian. I'm pretty sure my obsidian one popped out 3 black pearl triplets. So that's what I'm talking about. So not necessarily did I get obsidian, but I got 3 black pearls. Um, yeah, and these are my baby gotchas. These are the babies. Now, the reason I have a male baby gotcha in here is because it's black. It's it's black pearls, and this one is crystal. I'm pretty sure this one's crystal. Now I haven't named any of these things because I'm not gonna let them sit around outside and starve to death while I figure out what the hell to call them. So what I've basically done is I picked up my babies and I brought them in here. Now I've tried to feed these things a lot of. I've killed about 3 or 4 babies now, trying to figure out how to grow these damn things. Because I googled things and they're like, oh, just feed it rocks and berries, and then it ends up in my preserve bin. So, I'm guessing glass walls. I tame them with glass walls. It's almost an instant reaction with them. So I'm guessing glass walls is gonna do it. Now, on top of that, I'm probably going to incorporate a bird. So specifically, the the owl. Um, Now I've given this owl super stamina, and the reason I have given this owl super stamina is because owls heal other characters. So, and the more stamina you have, the longer you can heal. Now, in saying that, this thing eats meat while it's healing like it's a poor kid in Kenya. Like it just needs food all the time. Like all the time. So if you're healing with this specific character, because I know there's other healers and they probably do a heck of a better job. Like pigs heal. Um and I think something else heals. Birds heal. They do an okay job at it, but be wary about how much food you have to feed these things. So basically have your pouch stacked with just meats. And that going back to like getting ready for this, now that I have the the Tyrannosaurus, right? Because the Blaze is 99, or the Spino is 99, but at the same time I don't want to get into any stupid riffraff with it. But the 365, I can do some fun stuff with that. Um, so that all translates into being prepared for the birth of some of these things. So just the redundancy. Two is one and one is none. So I always try to work on that principle. I got these guys from the guy up north, along with that X Rex. I I'm pretty sure you can feed these things regular meats. Here's what's interesting though. Tech in particular. Now, I think tech eggs give you a different quality of kibble. Um, but not only that, they give you um, they give you element. They give you electric those electric chips, right? And I'm not saying that the like depends on what your production rate is. Like if I see, I know I'm digressing a little bit. If I see a tech a parasaurus, that's that pack mule thing. That's this guy here, right? If I see a tech parasaurus and I have a shotgun on me, I will probably put a shell into your face. And now the reason for that is because the shell in itself is one metal, two metal, three metal. Okay, three metal balls, right? So I need three metal to make the pellets for the inside of the shell, and I need I think it's one metal. I think it's one metal. I think it's oops, weapons, ammo, and I think it's one. Yes, and it's one, and it's one. So four metal altogether to make one shotgun shell. Now, in my case, I'm not necessarily worried about metal, but even in like a tighter situation, I trade four metal. I maybe get I maybe get like 10 I maybe get like 10 electric chips. Yeah, that's 10 metal right there. Plus pearls, right? And then on top of that, I get scrap metal from them. So if you're lucky, you're going to get about 6 to 7 scrap metal, maybe 8 if you're lucky, right? That in turn, 8 scrap metal will give you 4 metal back when you create, right? 2 scrap metal, 2 metal equals 1 ingot. And then on top of that, you get element, right? So your return, like I have no problem putting a shell into a parasaur. um, but it's the tech stuff that I'm after, right? It's the element. So if on top of that, now I can get an element gotcha too. That's the whole. But now, right? Like I get the breeding program going, and that's why I've got a box. That's why I got a box. Like these ones that are wandering around out here, they can wander around to their heart's content. I had a baby come up. So before I went to bed, there was one of these were pregnant, and it was going to give birth 2 or 3 hours before I woke up. Even before I woke up, like before coffee, like even before thinking about coffee, even right? Like I looked at her and I was like, really, really, you had to do this right before bed? So, like, damn it. But like, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. And if people come in here and nick a baby from me, hey, c'est la vie, man. I do it. I do it like I don't. Oops. What happened?